Purpose Inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
Duval, Cannon, Clay, and surrounding counties, are you ready to take your business to the next level? Join us on April 12th at the Connect and Grow Conference, brought to you by Bassett Cook and Mims Construction Companies. Whether you're a small startup or emerging business, this event is tailor-made just for you. Do you feel stuck trying to get your business off the ground? Do you need guidance on getting those local, state, and federal contracts? Well, invest in yourself and in your business. Take the day off and join us at 8 a.m. for breakfast at the Schultz Center for a power-packed day filled with invaluable insights and connections. Have lunch with industry experts and representatives from major companies who are eager to share their knowledge and resources with you. So, what is your excuse? Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Head over to eventbrite.com right now and secure your free tickets to the Connect and Grow Conference. That's right, this valuable conference is free. We've lined up amazing speakers from around the country who are ready to help propel your business to the next level. So don't miss out on this great opportunity to connect, learn, and grow your business. See you there, April 12th, Connect and Grow Conference 2024. All right. What's up, everybody? I apologize. Had some technical difficulties. I guess my Chrome has crashed. I tried to open it up several times. So thank you, Windows, for being my savior for the evening. First time that happened. I tell you, I believe I felt it in my spirit when I was leaving the house. I'm gonna start my computer. I'm gonna cut it off and just cut the computer on fresh. But I had this thought, like, don't cut your computer off. I ain't listen, did not listen, cut it off, and then this bad boy don't want to cut back on. But we're gonna get into it. We're getting it together. We got a very important subject we're gonna be talking about tonight. So I believe if y'all when y'all join in, you tune in, just go ahead and share this, and then a lot of people can watch this on the recap. We're gonna be watching it, and we're gonna be airing this on Purpose Inspired TV. So yeah, this is a show that's going to be on Purpose Inspired TV, also a podcast that's on From the Mind of Lil Joe, my personal page, and Purpose Inspired TV page. So we got to get this word out. There's a lot of information that we're going to get out. We're here to help this family out, and I hope everybody can hear me all right. Let me adjust my mic over here pointed towards me. But yes, this is a very important subject, but I'm going to start with this disclaimer. The views and opinion expressed on this presentation are those of the presenter and does not constitute the endorsement of the channel Purpose Inspired TV. Just had to get some legal stuff to protect the channel. But this is opinion. A lot of TV shows that you watch, like Fox News and CNN, you have the news, and then you have these opinionated shows. So I'm going to be giving my opinion. I'm going to try to stay as neutral as possible to get the information. Our goal is to get the truth out. That's what we want. We want the truth, and we want justice. So that's what this program is about: is finding truth and justice. Um, and as far as the Purpose Inspired TV, we've done a lot of different shows similar to this, not this intense, but we have had other guests up here talking about different things that happened to them, like the accidental advocate, and we did this movie called The Talk. The Talk was about this mother that wanted to have a talk with her son. They're people of color or black. I don't like to say black, but it was a person of color. And sometimes, if you can watch the movie, we can. In the movie, she went around asking white people, have they had to talk with their sons? And that talk that they was referring to was like the birds and the bees. So every time she went to a white couple, or a white family, did you have to talk with did you have to talk with your son? Yes, we had the birds and the bees talk. But then we went to people of color and said, have you had that talk with your son? They was like, yes, I taught him how to act when he got pulled over, whenever he gets pulled over by the police. Two different types of talks. So that's what that movie was about, having that talk with the black boy on how to act when he gets pulled over by the police. So I believe, as I was thinking about this story, we also need to have a talk with parents on how to talk to the authorities. Let's say something happened to your daughter or something happened to your son. You need to be able to know how to talk when you deal with them. So we're going to be going through some of that, and we're going to give some examples of how these different scenarios that go down. And some people, I'm going to just tell the truth, some people of color, they don't know how to act when they get in front of authority. So we're going to be talking about how to get how to get some information when you can tell some people they don't want to give out information. So that's going to be part of it. And also we're going to be, it's actually, I wrote down 5 points that we want to make during this show. One of the points is bring awareness to this case. We would like to get the mainstream media involved in investigating. We also would get other content creators to pick up this story, and some of these content creators, they can dig up some stuff. They can go find some information. So we can get some other content creators dig into this story. So not only will we be able to help this family, we may be able to help out some other families also that may be going through a similar situation. Another thing that I would like to accomplish by doing this show and any follow-up shows is to help solve this mystery. We want to know what happened. We want to know what happened to this brother. We want to know what happened to this son. So we're gonna get into that. So we want to know the truth. We want to help solve this mystery. Another thing we would like to do, show the public what parents has to go through in different situations in this particular county and other counties similar to this. So a lot of times, we family members and mothers and fathers and relatives are hurting, going through different things, but the public, quote unquote, public servants could care less. So they don't have any empathy. They don't have any cares or concern. So we're going to be showing what these family members are going through, again, on how to address it. Another thing that I would like to do is to show parents and families a calmer way, like I started off saying, a calm way to deal with situations. We're going to be listen, I want to hear this letter again that they wrote to the mayor. I love that letter, but they didn't go off. They didn't cuss them out. And a lot of people, we're not all children of God, but especially ones who are children of God, you need to be a child of God no matter what you're going through, no matter what your feelings, what you feel on the inside. And this email response is a prime example on how to properly respond. Even if you can still be angry and sin not, and deal with the frustration. Again, for those of you who are joining in, please go ahead and share the link, get other people come on up, get other people to tune in. All right, number 5, when the mystery is solved, we're going to give tips on how to prevent a similar tragedy like this from happening again. we don't know what happened. So there's no way for you to tell you how to prevent it from happening. So we're going to be learning things along the way as we unravel and solve this mystery, and we're going to come back and teach you and let you know what was discovered, and what is something even that we not preventing the tragedy, but looking at the, like I said, a lot of the service, the sheriff's office and the different people that's supposed to be public servants. What lesson are we going to learn, and how can we prevent it from again? I remember when the accident advocate, I think it was Miss Jackson, I believe. She got in and figured out how to vote people out of office. If that's how to prevent things from happening again, if that's how to help families from going through tragedies like this again by getting people out of office, that's what we got to do. And if we have to do that in this situation, we're going to be behind and have a way we can help out in the situation. Okay, so we're going to get started. Again, go ahead and, like I said, when people start coming in, go ahead and share it. And we're going to be answering questions at the end. After we get all this information out, we can go through the information. Then we're going to be open up the floor for any comments and questions, things like that. So to get started, let's go ahead and introduce the father, Mr. Stanley and Catherine Barnes. How in the world are you this evening, sir?
As well as can be expected, considering all that we've gone through this week.
I surely understand. I understand that. We're gonna, like I said, I want us to go through all the details, step by step. But before we get into it, I don't want us to be like for me and other media and other social media creators to refer as your son, even the police and the authorities refer him as the victim, or something that happened to a particular person, or the quote unquote the body. Mm-hmm. Let's refer to him by his name as a person. So can you introduce him and tell us a little bit about your son?
Son's name is Daniel Barnes, and he was the youngest son of three. And he was a resident of Pensacola, Escambia County. He had lived in Kentucky previously, moved back to Pensacola after being born and raised in Pensacola, moved back to Pensacola in about September of last year.
Okay, so anything else you can tell about? Like, he was a military man?
Yeah, spent time in the Army. So he did a tour in the Army. And like I said, he was born and raised in Pensacola, so that's where he spent the majority of his life. He's had a tour in South Carolina, spent a little time in D.C., and after that, he was discharged, and he spent time, back in Pensacola, and also spent time in Kentucky.
Okay, and what did he do in the Army?
In the Army, he was a draftsman. So one of his passions was drawing. And so that was an opportunity for him to do a job and then pursue your passion at the same time. So it was a nice blend there in the Army.
Oh man, that's good. I was a sonar tech looking for submarines, and when I got out, it was no submarine searching jobs out here for me. But that's good for him to be able to get a job in the Army and to be able to still do it when he got out. Okay. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and start at the beginning when you got that first phone call. Let's start there.
All right. On Monday, March 25th, got notified by JSO that they had some information that they needed to give me related to my son, and I have three. So the immediate question was, who exactly were we dealing with? But JSO said that they couldn't give me any information because I was away from the house. So I was actually talking to them over the doorbell. And they said they couldn't give any information to me over the doorbell. They had to be in person. So I told them I wouldn't be home for at least an hour. And so they instructed me to give them a call once I got home. I got home, gave them a call. It was about 3:40. Eventually, they showed up at the house about 7:45 and gave me a phone number that I needed to call in Escambia County. And so that immediately, I had already contacted the other two sons. So I had already narrowed it down anyway to the son that lived there in Pensacola. And so at that point, it was just a matter of finding out exactly what I was dealing with. Made the call to the number that they gave me, and the number went to voicemail. So I called the non-emergency number there at Escambia County, told them this individual had left me some information, wanted me to contact them, but the number he gave me, the message went to voicemail, and were they able to reach out to him? They said that they would. This was Monday evening, and that they would have him give me a call, and we did not receive any information at all on Monday.
So they sent JSO to give you a phone number, but then the phone number got you nowhere. And that started off, they didn't have any kind of backup person.
No, sir. Didn't have any. Nobody was able to give you any information except the person that was associated with the phone number that I got. And so for a parent, it was bad enough to know that there's some information that was serious enough for them to warrant calling JSO to contact me. But it was even worse when, after you get the notification that you need to make a contact, that now the number that you're calling goes to voicemail, and you're not able to make a contact or get any additional information for the balance of the night.
Okay, so there's a problem right there to start
Yes.
off.
Yes. So there's a problem with the communication. There's a problem with the notification process, and it's certainly a problem when the individual that gives you the number, once you make the call back, then it goes to voicemail, and you don't get a response until the following day.
So was he like the day up when he's? I'll probably wait till the end before I start asking questions. But when they sent JSO, he wasn't like prepared to receive your phone call then?
Possibly, because the initial contact, when I answered the doorbell and spoke to them through the doorbell, that was 2:18. And so I explained to JSO that I wouldn't be home for an hour. And so I was on Blanding Boulevard, so they could actually come and give me what the information it was. So they declined to do that and said that they had to give me the information at home. At that point, I didn't know that the only thing that they were conveying was a number and a name, or I would have insisted that they go ahead and give me that, because possibly I would have been able to reach him before 5 o'clock if I had gotten that information. But unfortunately, I did not get that information until after 7 the same day.
All right. Before we move on, this another question is in my mind. How do they find your address but not your phone number?
Well, my thought is, because nobody's ever confirmed any of this, is that when you're looking for the next of kin and you run the driver's license and you run the social security number, then you're going to get all of the people that are associated with that individual. And so my guess is that's how they narrowed it down. And then once you get into the DMV, then you're able to see the names and you match up the names, and then you have all of the addresses associated with those. So that's why they had an address, but they didn't have a phone number.
Okay. So now it's 7 p.m.
On Monday night.
Answer, on Monday night, no answer, no response.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else is really trying to reach out to you. So your next step is it's time to head over there.
Well, the next step is we wait till the next day. I mean, it's
okay.
We wait all day Monday night, and in hopes that somebody will give you a call and give you an explanation as to why they were trying to contact you on Monday. That didn't happen. Now we're into Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning, we're waiting because we figure surely at some point somebody's going to give us a call. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, my wife actually calls and initially doesn't get anybody to respond to her request to speak to this investigator. And she calls back, more persistent about speaking to this individual and finding out what it is that you have to tell us. And then on that phone call was actually able to get the investigator on the phone.
So do they have that many cases like this to where it's not even important to them anymore?
I mean, that's the only assumption that you can make. And by that time, it's just pure frustration after waiting all night long and then hoping that there would be a phone call during the day and then you having to call them at 11 o'clock. It was absolute frustration at that point, in addition to disappointment. But at the same time, you have the angst that go along with, well, not knowing what it is that you're about to hear. And so on Tuesday morning, when we finally got him on the phone, of course, the obvious question is, what is it that you need to tell us? And so it was at that point on that Tuesday morning that we found out, after waiting all day Monday, that our son had passed away in Pensacola, Escambia County.
So that's still just starting the story off. It's still unbelievable. You're trying to get some information, but you're really not putting a whole lot of effort into it. It seems like it's like, yeah, we'll get to it when I get around to it. That seems like the attitude is towards to me. Okay, so now you found out Tuesday that he passed away. So
Yes.
what other information? That's all the information they gave you.
Well, of course, the initial notification, and you knew something had to be going on if they were trying to contact me, but the initial notification was on Monday. I actually got confirmation on Tuesday that he passed away. And then at that point, the situation just continued to compound, or the lack of humanity, the lack of compassion was compounded by the fact that we're asking questions, and we were clear that if this was an investigation, which is what he said, is that we're still investigating, and these are the facts we have right now. And so he gave us those facts as it related to his passing. But we can't do anything else. We can't give you any additional information because our computer systems are down. And so without any additional information, I understand computer systems go down. So my expectation is that the computer system will be back up, in a reasonable amount of time, and then we'll be able to get whatever information or answer any questions that we have. And so after he told us that, I said, that's fine. We will see you tomorrow morning, which would have been Wednesday morning.
Okay, so the computer system down now. Let's say if your son was injured in the hospital, I'm wondering would they have acted any different?
I can't say, I can't speak to that, but I can certainly speak to the lack of compassion. We found ourselves just begging for humanity in this case. Just do the humane thing. No parent wants to wait all night and then the majority of the morning to hear some news, because as a parent, you start to fill in the blanks. I mean, you try not to, and you try to stay positive, but when somebody's trying to notify you, as it relates to a next of kin, then you pretty much know what the outcome is going to be. And so, our request was that you just show some humanity in this situation. And that simply did not happen on Monday or on Tuesday.
So here it is, 2 days. I just cannot imagine what she was going through. Just by hearing the story, I was feeling pains in my chest. I'm like, it's not even my son. I'm like, now 2 days is still like wondering. Okay, so now I believe I talked to you guys when you was on your way to Pensacola that Tuesday night. So yeah, what happened with this that long 6-hour drive, 6-7 hour? It was like 6-hour drive.
Yes, 6.5-hour drive. So we arrived there Wednesday, probably around 11 o'clock, and we go into the sheriff's office and greeted by the receptionist there very rudely. And so we navigate that situation. She's asking us, do we have an appointment? No, we don't have an appointment. However, we've spoken to your investigator yesterday, and we told him we would be here today about my son who's passed away in your county. And so she said she would try to reach him and we could just have a seat. So we wound up sitting there in the lobby and then waiting once again for somebody to give us some additional information uh, to give us some clarity about exactly what's transpired, what happened, how did it happen, and then what were the circumstances of his passing. So we wait there for about 10 minutes, and then a sergeant comes down and he relays that he's new to the division, and the individual that we need to talk to is not actually there at the county office, but he's in a neighboring county, and so he's not available.
But he knew you was coming.
Yes, that was the last thing we said before we got off the phone, is that we will see you in the morning.
Yeah. This is when people start knocking over tables. But y'all kept your cool.
Yes. Because at that point, I mean, we try to be reasonable about whatever the situation is, and we know that every organization has a process, every organization has protocols. And so when he said he was working in a different county, I said, that's fine. If you would just ask him to give us a call, and so we can, fill in some of the blanks, fill in those areas where we're not clear. And in the meantime, what's our next steps? What do we need to do next in this process? Because this is all brand new to us. And so the sergeant said, well, what I can do is I can give you the number to the medical examiner, and then you can pursue that and find out what you need to do as it relates to the medical examiner in order to move forward. So I took that phone number. We thanked him, for giving us the phone number. And then we went outside and gave the medical examiner a call.
Okay. But it's still like, I gotta stop with my opinions. It seems like they would have some compassion when you show up, when you meet this family when they get here, and walk with them every step of the way of this process. So with none of that.
Not happening. And we suspected, I mean, we talked about this, is that, when you do this every day, I would imagine you can become a little calloused to the nature of the job that you have. And so for you, it's routine, it's common. But for the people that are impacted and the people that have lost a loved one, it's not common for us. And so everything that we were doing that day was uncharted waters. We had no idea what to expect. We had no idea what to do. We didn't know what was next. And so a measure of compassion during that time frame would have been extremely helpful. But once again, we just tried to make sure that we were navigating it so that we could continue to get information. And so we just went out to the car with the information that he gave us, got out to the car, and then we made the call to the medical examiner.
So I keep reoccurring. I keep hearing it over and over again. No compassion, lack of compassion. Okay, so let's go with when you talk to the medical examiner. What happened then?
Okay, so once again, without having any knowledge about what it is that we would do, we were calling the medical examiner to find out where we needed to go to make a positive identification. And once again, new information, we found out that you don't make positive identifications. And I don't know if that's across every county, but in Escambia County, you don't make positive identifications. So there was not going to be an opportunity for us to actually go and see him while we were there.
Okay, that's unbelievable. But you can't even identify your loved one.
Yes.
So what was the investigator wanting you to come over there to do then? If he's not going to meet you, you can't go to the medical examiner. They were just sending you on a wild goose chase.
Well, once again, we're just trying to maintain our composure. We're trying to make sure that we're covering all our bases. At this point, we're taking notes, and we're trying to make sure that we're not missing anything. And so we just asked the medical examiner, if positive identification is not done by the next of kin, then what is it that we need to do to expedite this process? Because I want to make sure that I get him to the funeral director, because the service is going to be in Alabama. So what do I need to do? And actually, the medical examiner, her name was Rachel, working in the medical examiner's office. She was extremely friendly and helpful. And she said, well, the only thing you can do right now is that you can fill out the consent form to release your son to the funeral director, but understand that nobody can pick up a body from the medical examiner here in Florida unless they're a licensed Florida funeral director. So the funeral director that I hired from Birmingham, he had to locate a Florida funeral director in order to meet all of their protocols and requirements to effectuate the picking him up and then transporting him across state lines into Alabama.
So you got to go through all this process, but you never 100% say, this is my son.
I've not had an opportunity to identify him. And she pointed that out, that in Escambia County, and like I said, I don't know if this is countywide across Florida, but the first opportunity you'll have to identify them will be after the funeral director picks them up.
Okay, doesn't that leave room for a whole lot of mistakes?
Yeah, because along the way, they're not explaining the process. They're not saying, well, what we do is we have all the information on the driver's license, or what we do is we fingerprint everybody that comes into the medical examiner's office. They're not giving you any information because, according to the medical examiner, she said, because I asked, okay, so can you just tell me what you found since you received him? And she said, I can't tell you anything because we have to be released by the investigator. And keep in mind, this is the same investigator that we came to talk to, that we've not had a face-to-face with yet. We have to be released by him before we can say anything to the next of kin.
This is that's torturous.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
that's what's coming to my mind. That's just torture. Man, again, I just can't imagine. I'm just all this minute time. Okay, you can't get to your son. Yes, he's passed away, but you still can't get to your son.
That's correct.
Okay, so now, yeah, okay. I'll let you pick it up. So I guess the funeral director in Alabama. The funeral director
in Alabama, he's in contact with him because I called him immediately. I called him on my way there. So he didn't know the process either, because he says, I haven't worked in Florida in a long time, but in every other state we have a reciprocal relationship. And so in Georgia, we just go in and pick people up, and in Mississippi, we go in and just pick people up. He said, Florida is particular because I don't have this issue when I go in other states, to pick up individuals, pick up family members. This is not an issue that I have in Florida, but it's not a problem. I can work through it because I can associate myself with a funeral home there. I've already contacted him. So we can work out those details. The only issue now is getting the release from the medical examiner. So we filled out the form, which was a DocuSign. So we filled that out and we sent that back, and she said, I'll let you know as soon as I have it. And she did. She called us back and she said, hey, I have the form. So as soon as our system comes back up, so now we found out that they're connected also to this county system, and they're down system wide. So she said, as soon as the system comes back up, we'll be able to process the form. And then as soon as we get a release from the detective, then we'll be able to process turning him over to the funeral director. And then hopefully you guys will be able to get some closure with this. So she was extremely friendly, extremely helpful. And I understood that her hands were tied by the protocol and the requirements that she has as a medical examiner, because they're not law enforcement. And so they have to be released by law enforcement in order to basically do their job. And so at the end of that one, we filled out the form, sent it back to her. And then by that time, hours had passed. And so we called back to the sergeant that we had spoke to earlier, and we asked again, did you contact the investigator? And he said, yes. I told him I need to give you a call. And I said, well, he still hasn't called. And he said, okay, well, I'll reach out to him again. So we're back waiting again.
It's just a cold process.
Yes, sir. Extremely cold, extremely dismissive about the nature of what it is that you're processing and what you're going through. And like I said, it appears that they've just become callous to the process. And so the individuals that are in the process, we can say it didn't feel like we mattered.
Yes. That's all I'm saying, like, across the board.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now at this point, he finally, the paperwork was filled out. He was released, and
Well, not released yet, because we've just done our consent to
Okay.
release. Whenever the county system comes back up, she'll effectuate the release that we've given, but she still had to be released by the investigator before
There
she
we
could
go.
process. Yeah,
okay, so now we at the point of the system is down, and you still haven't heard from the investigator.
still haven't heard from the investigator.
I just
Yes.
this
And
is a
one part
nightmare.
that I left out is when the sergeant came down, he pointed out that the system had been down for a week. Yes.
This okay. Keep my opinions to myself, but this is just ridiculous. It's all. And again, if I hate, I don't like bringing up, make it racial. It's everything is always racial. But if it was another race, would the other race be going through the same process? Would they be going through the same thing?
I mean, the only thing we can do is apply how we were treated and then speculate about what the treatment would have been had it been somebody else. And of course, we're not naive, and so we know that there's nothing equal about the treatment that we get as people of color. And so that's the feeling we left there with, is that if this had been someone else and this had been someone else's child, it's 5 o'clock now. We've already made 2 requests to speak to him. We still haven't gotten anything. And basically for us, we've already seen this movie. We'd already seen this movie on Monday night. We already dealt with this movie on Tuesday. And now we're back again dealing with the same situation. And so we got back in our car and prepared to drive. And for us, it's about 700 miles round trip. And it's about 12 to 13 hours of driving. And so we just came right on back home. But we came home with a purpose, because we knew that if we're going to get to the bottom of this, we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and start using some of the connections that we have and try to get some other people advocating for this, because we were getting absolutely no positive feedback from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
So here it is. We're at Wednesday.
We're at Wednesday
Evening after 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Get ready to head back. You hadn't
Right.
heard from the investigator yet still.
And we didn't hear from him for the balance of that night either. And that's after the sergeant said he would send him 2 messages and let him know that not only were we there, but we were interested in talking to him about the case that he contacted us about on Monday, and then spoke to us about on Tuesday. And here we are there on Wednesday to actually have a face-to-face conversation about it, but he's not available.
Just getting sick to my stomach even more. It's just okay. That is just painful. Okay, so let's pick up here. You got to make this long trip back with really not too much information.
Well, really with no more information than we had on Tuesday, with the exception of being able to fill out the form, which we could have actually done from Jacksonville with the medical examiner, because everything that we did there, we could have actually done from home. So on the way back, we're just strategizing and talking about what our next steps should be. We're making phone calls to people that could possibly be influential in this situation or are in a position to advocate for our son, and get some movement in Pensacola. And so we come back home on Thursday, and on Thursday, we spent all day Thursday with 0 new information, with 0 communication from anybody in Escambia County. And we spent that entire day calling everybody that we knew that could possibly impact this situation. So we were just making phone calls. We researched the Pensacola mayor's phone number, email, his executive assistant. We reached out to Pensacola City Council members. Anybody we thought that could be a difference maker in this, we reached out to them on Thursday. Our local pastor, we reached out to him. He made some contacts with people that he thought may be helpful. And so that's the ball that we tried to get rolling on Thursday all day. But we did not hear anything from Escambia County all day on Thursday.
I want to double back to the beginning real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You got the first contact from JSO on Monday morning.
Yes. Monday afternoon at 2.
Monday afternoon. But
yes.
Do you have a timeline on when the incident happened? Or
no.
How long did it take before he finally sent JSO to look for you?
No, we still don't have a timeline on the incident because I don't believe they have a timeline. And that'll be a part of what we talk about as we approach where we are right now. I don't think they have a timeline. So we don't have a timeline. We have a timeline when he was discovered, but we don't have a timeline as it relates to the actual date and time that he passed.
Okay. And the way that this is going, they're going to say they don't know. I don't know. The system was down. Okay, so here we are. So we're Thursday.
We're Thursday.
We're getting stuff done over here from your end.
Yes.
Still is silence coming from that direction.
Yes. So on Thursday, we're activating every resource that we have to try to get somebody that can have some impact on getting us some information, finding out what this issue is with the system and the countywide and what the issue is. And so that's how we spend all day Thursday. And then the balance of the day, Thursday, that's all we do. And then, of course, Thursday passes and zero information from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
So now here comes a holiday is coming up.
Moving into Friday.
Okay, so let's go to Friday.
So Friday is the same thing for us. We're making calls. The people that we reached out to on Thursday, they're making calls. Of course, now everybody is getting the non-emergency number. We're not getting any representatives from the department that the investigator works in. Everybody's giving us the same information that, we're leaving messages for him. We'll send him a text message. Our system is still down. So everybody that we reached out to that made a call to Pensacola, they all got the same information. And that if you need any information about this case, you have to speak with this investigator because he's the one that's handling it.
So is that the whole system shut down because are they still arresting people, or is people not dying? People not being rushed to the hospital?
Well, that was our question. And on Friday is when we actually did our own research and found out that the reason why they were down is because it was a cyber attack. And so this was their second cyber attack. They had their initial cyber attack was in 2019, and it was a ransomware. And so it was $1 million ransom, which they decided not to pay. They decided to do a $300,000 workaround instead of paying the ransom. And so here we are in 2024 with the same issue again. But rather than telling us that while we were there, everybody we spoke to from Monday through Friday told us that it was just the system was down. Not that we had a cyber attack and it's possible ransomware, but just that the system was down. But through our own research, we found out that on Friday.
Okay. But still, it's got to be still a way to run your city, run your departments when the system is down.
Well, and that was our take on it. We said that you knew or should have known that this was possible, and then you should have had some protocols in place, because the same things that happened in 2019 are going to happen in 2024. You're going to have families just like us who've lost somebody that they love and care about. And you need to have a system in place that you can meet the needs of those families and make sure that you're treating them compassionately and humanely through the process. And that didn't happen.
Like I said, I'm just sorry y'all had to go through this. Okay, so here we go. We so made the Thursday and Friday. Let's pick it up from there. Good Friday.
All doing our own homework, continuing to reach out to people, encouraging people to write letters to the sheriff, to the executive director for the mayor, to the mayor, reaching out to anybody who has any connections with any councilmen, aldermen, representatives, anybody that you think will be helpful to us in this situation. Please reach out to them. And then through our local church, they were instrumental in a letter writing campaign or email writing campaign to the mayor and the sheriff. And so that's what we did for Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. We were just encouraging people to do whatever you feel like is going to be helpful to us in this process so that we can get some movement in Pensacola, because they've been completely disaffected by anything that we've said or asked for or any calls that have been made. And so we're going to need somebody outside of our normal sphere of influence, i.e. a politician, a mayor, a sheriff, whatever it may be, to speak on our behalf so that we can actually get some movement there. So that was all Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I mean, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 4 consecutive days of just doing that work behind the scenes, trying to get some movement on this whole process.
Okay. So back to their email system is still up, but there are other systems down. So all those emails that we sent out, and our pastor went live actually on Resurrection Sunday, and to bring awareness, even said something about it in the message. So the word is out. So people are sending emails and that type thing. So what kind of response came from all those emails?
Well, we actually got a lot of traction on Monday morning. The local Pensacola victims advocate had a relationship with the sheriff at Escambia County. And so she was kind enough to meet him at his office first thing Monday morning. And so by 8:30 Monday, we got a call from her, and she said, I've had an opportunity to speak to the sheriff, and he assured me that you will get a call within an hour from an Escambia County sheriff. And that happened. We spoke to a captain about an hour later and gave him all of the details surrounding our son's death. And then he assured us that within an hour, we would actually speak to the investigator that we came to speak to on Wednesday. And he apologized. He said, I apologize for what you've had to go through. And by that time, we had learned of some discrepancies between what he said and what the funeral director found out when they actually picked up our son on Saturday afternoon, and then he was transported on Sunday to Birmingham. So that was an area of concern, is that we had learned some things after the funeral director picked him up that were inconsistent with what the investigator told us initially on Wednesday.
Okay. Do you want to get into that?
I would just say that the cause of death that he gave us on Wednesday didn't match up with what we found out over the weekend after the funeral director picked him up.
Okay. And
yes.
The medical examiner just didn't give up none of that information.
Medical examiner can't say anything. They're bound, and they can't say anything until the investigator releases them. So for us, that wouldn't have been a problem if they had just told us that there was an investigation and so we can't do it. But they actually allowed him to be released. They allowed Daniel to be released on Saturday, which kind of indicates that if you were doing an investigation, the investigation is completed. Otherwise, you would not have released him. And so with the new information that we had, it was unclear about why you would release him based on the information that we now have, because it's not matching up with what we had gotten initially on Wednesday.
But the medical examiner, she was able to do an autopsy.
We haven't gotten any information about that because that's all a part of the final report. And so the medical examiner, once again, is bound. They're not going to say what they have or have not done. They're not going to admit or deny anything until the whole investigation is closed. Once it's closed, then they'll give you all the information related to it. But until then, they're bound and they won't give you any information related to it.
Okay, so that's not lining up either. If he gave you some information, but then when you try to get some more information, they can't give you information. So you either got information that you know, or you just don't give out any. So why would they give out mixed signals, mixed messages?
Well, that's the question we had for him on Monday when we actually had an opportunity to speak with him, and this was all over the phone because we were still in Jacksonville on Monday. So we had an opportunity to speak to him over the phone on Monday.
So it took a week before you finally get to speak to him.
Well, we spoke to him initially on Tuesday, so it took almost a week. We were a day short of a week when we spoke to him on Monday. And this was after the victim's advocate had contacted the sheriff, and then after the sheriff contacted the captain, and then the captain was able to get him on the phone.
Wow. So was he apologetic? Did he have a good reason to take almost a week to get back with you?
No, he was not apologetic at all. He was resolute, I would say. And I can remember distinctly one of the statements he made is, I told you that the computer systems were down. And so we were still trying to get answers. And so I was just allowing him to talk. And then he told me, he said, I understand, because he had told us one method that our son had passed. And he said, I understand that you believe that that's what happened. But what actually happened is that he was hanged. And so that's when everything turned upside down.
I don't know how this story keeps getting worse.
Yes.
Okay, so a person is hanged and is still nonchalant. That happens on a regular basis where it's no big deal. The news reporters are not coming to investigate and they're not making a bigger deal about it. It's still like nonchalant, like, well, that just happens around here.
Well, the problem for us is, and we don't have anybody on the inside, so we don't really have any way of knowing what's being revealed as it relates to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. All we're going by is, the information that we're getting. The information is spotty at best. And so our assumption was that now that there's been a certain amount of pressure that's being exerted, that now he's willing to give us a little bit more information than we had. But the more information we got, the more questions we had.
I understand that. Yes. It seems like every time somebody says something, it leads to more questions. Okay, so you finally talked to him on Monday.
Yes.
And so you say the funeral, your son arrived in Birmingham on Sunday. So,
yes.
So that's taken care of. The funeral director have your son.
Yes.
So now you're able to finally start making some plans.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're making plans. We get that part of it. So that's a relief to know that that's being taken care of. But along with the relief, now we have a new set of issues and questions about his passing that don't line up with the initial report that we got about his passing. And that's the part that's very, very unsettling, is the dismissiveness, the nonchalantness. So, of course, we were inquiring about, why is it that it has taken this long for you to contact a family about how and the circumstances behind why their loved one passed? And so his retort was, I was busy on Wednesday. The computer systems are down. Friday was a holiday. and they don't work on the weekends.
This is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a quick break, so we can take a break, and then we can bring your other half. We can bring your wife back in. All right, I'll be
Okay.
right.
Small and emerging business in North Florida and South Georgia. Join us on April 12, 2024 in Jacksonville as Batson Cook and Mims Construction presents the Connect and Grow Conference. This is a one-day event specifically created to assist with connecting minority and emerging companies with local, state, and federal governmental agencies and other large corporations within this region that require your services. This conference will also provide keynote speakers and specialized classes designed precisely for your business growth. We have invited more than 25 local private and governmental agencies. Your company representative can meet and speak directly to key procurement managers. This conference will feature keynote speakers that will inspire and encourage you in your business growth. Lunch will be provided, so don't miss this great event. For free registration and more information, go to eventbrite.com. Connect and Grow Conference.
Purpose Inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
All right. We are back. You're watching Purpose Inspired TV. This story just getting crazier and crazier. But we are here to spread, to get the information out. We want to come up with a resolution. We want them to be able to find peace and find justice. So I'm going to bring Stanley back in. I'm going to bring in his wife, Dr. B. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Hello, Miss Dr. B. I know you're having a hard time being over there keeping quiet. So
Yeah,
come on in.
I am. I'm having a really hard time. But I appreciate you taking the time to give us this platform to share about what is occurring and how egregious it is. This is when my husband is extremely kind in his way of delivering information, and his passion is driven in ways that are a little bit different than mine. I am angry. I am frustrated. I am hurt. I am devastated by the lack of concern. And I know my husband has shared a lot about the lack of compassion and things like that. And those things are all great. They really are, and very true. But I am concerned, as you know, about processes and procedures and responsiveness and accountability, because those things are really huge for me. And at this point, we have an investigator who has been inaccurate at best and definitely non-communicative, which is even worse in a situation like this. And the only time he has moved to do something has been when forced by someone else. So none of this is happening out of his own free will or because he thinks it's a good idea to contact parents. And I know my husband said he mentioned Wednesday a couple of times, but on Wednesday, remember, we never had a conversation with him. The information that we found out was on Tuesday after I called him. Keep in mind, we had left multiple messages from the day before when JSO showed up, and my husband was unable to meet with them at that time. So when we had the conversation, it wasn't because he reached out to us. It was because we continued to call him and finally was able to get him on the phone. And even that was after some work. It was really after some work. And what my concern is that there are no, after having dealt with a cyber attack in 2019, why do you not have systems in place to keep this from being an issue again? It would seem as though you would have to have take some sort of responsibility in that. And the fact that we spent hours driving to Pensacola on Wednesday to meet with a person who didn't even take the time to show up, to be in place. After you knew, you're communicating with us on Tuesday. Again, because we're calling you and you're communicating with us and you're saying, we're coming. We're telling you, we're talking, you're okay. We'll, see you tomorrow. This is what's happening. And we arrive and you're nowhere to be found. And not only do we then ask for you, and your sergeant says he's calling you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We hear from you. And Monday we hear from you after having your office and the sheriff's office, all those folks that we talked about earlier, after their offices have been flooded and people have taken the social media and all of these things are happening. Now you're able to call us. And even then, when we get the call, you still have no information for us. And when we tell you that we found some inconsistencies, then you give us a totally different cause of death.
So
It is absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And keep in mind, at no point has anyone given us an opportunity to even determine if is this Daniel? Is that Daniel? Do we know that for sure? Do we know anything? And then when you're telling us one thing and we actually get an opportunity to see and we realize that that's not the case, and your only response is, oh, well, you know, sorry. And there was no sorry. There was no apology. There was nothing. And again, those things are things that are nice to have, expected, but I'd say some of them, yeah, they're not really required. But what is required is for you to have a system in place to be able to accommodate the people that are in front of you. What is required is for you to be honest and truthful, to have some integrity when you're having a conversation with people. What is required is for you to know your facts before you start spewing them.
So that's
Because we're spending an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out when will we be able to actually give him a proper home going. When will we be able to do anything? Nobody can tell us. No one to this day. Nobody can tell us when he died.
So
No
he's got a title as investigator, but is he investigating anything?
Not from what we've seen. Not from what we've seen. Especially with us having to give him some of the information that we've given him, there's no way that he could have. And again, I'm on a whole nother plane, because as far as I'm concerned, we're being treated as though we are clearly not a priority. But my husband was saying he can assume that there would be a difference. I know why we're being. It's very obvious, and I think that the fact that it looks like just another black dude dead, that nobody cares. And there's absolutely no way that you can convince me that you don't have a bit of information that you can give us, including when are we going to even know whether that's him? When are we going to be able to get a funeral director in here? When are we going to be able to get him laid to rest? When is that going to happen? Oh, I don't know. Nobody knows because you have to talk to this person who's refusing to call you back. It's utterly ridiculous.
It sounds like
And as we said, like we said, we had to mobilize in a way that caused us to be able to get some traction and get him to give us a call. And I would normally say, well, that's, you're speculating that maybe he wouldn't. No, we're not, because we've gone from Wednesday when he didn't even have the decency to show up to now Monday. And he would not have called us because, according to him, when we did get him on the phone, there was nothing else to tell us.
sounds like he's
A cover up.
Sounds like he's made up his mind, and he's treating you, the family, as if this was a criminal, and the criminal did something wrong. Criminal just by happening got killed in the process, so we don't care about that. So we're not going to care about the family.
And that's exactly how we feel. That's exactly how we feel. And our feelings are one thing. Our feelings are one thing, and they're very real, and they have to be honored. But you have a responsibility, and that's where my issue is. Do we have feelings? Absolutely. Are we frustrated? Absolutely. But you know me well enough to know I'm looking at your system. I'm looking at your processes. I'm looking at your practices. I'm looking at what you're responsible for doing and how you have dropped that ball. That is what I'm looking at. I'll deal with my feelings later. Because unfortunately for us, we haven't had an opportunity to deal with how we actually feel, because we've been too busy trying to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. So,
It's tradition.
The more I thought about it, it's got to be other families going through the same thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
So if that's the way that system is ran, it's got to be other people, other victims. But I wonder, are you the first to give this much pushback? Or
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. What I will tell you is, when you're dealing with a system that is riddled with systemic racism, and when you're dealing with places that have these kinds of egregious missteps, it's a systemic problem. It's systematic and it's systemic. And those two things are what's causing me an issue. So I can assure you, because we have had an opportunity to speak with people in Pensacola. We have had an opportunity to interact with other people. This is not far. This is not. No one was shocked. No one was shocked that we spoke to from that area that this is what we're dealing with. And the response from some of the officials, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. You have people that are in very high positions in their government or in that governmental system that have basically said, "Hey, talk to them. That's not us. Not me." And they had to be reminded that this is a citizen and a constituent. This absolutely is about you.
Yeah. So what's the word on the street there? What's the word that the officials getting, that what, suicide? I don't know if we're supposed to say that word. Was it a murder? What's their input, and what's the information they have for them to react to you in the way? So, what picture were they painted of the person, of your son?
I wish we could give you. I wish I could tell you more about that. What I have been able to gather, from what we've been able to gather, we start having a conversation with someone about it being our son, and the response is, well, It is Escambia County, and this is what you can expect.
Hmm.
Or they're not gonna call you, and it's true because they didn't. They're not gonna. They're gonna say it's over. It's true because they did say that. So we're not speculating at all. This is our experience, and it aligns with so many of the comments that we've heard. And people have called us and said, "Say something because it's foul play. Say something because you better check their record. You better check this detective. You better check this." All of these things that it's happening because this is this this is what we're experiencing. Yes, but it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon, and some of that you can find by simply googling, as
So
we've had to do.
it sounds like a culture of systematic racism, but is it many or any people of color in the any of the officials? Any of the officials people of color?
Mm-mm.
Not that we've interacted with. There are a couple that we have seen or that we have seen, but it's very few, very few. And again, that's not hearsay. That's Googleable. It's right there, right in your face.
Okay, so let's go a little bit into, like I said, we got the campaign of the emails going over there. So what was the results again of what was the results of all those emails and officials
I'll say,
them?
well, as you know, our pastor took to the airways, and we are so incredibly thankful for him taking a stand and being as active as he has been. And he's contacted a lot of people. He's very well connected. But we also are parts of national and international organizations, and I reached out and we put feelers out. We put calls out to the National Coalition 100 Black Women in that area, and they got busy. We put calls out to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. They got busy. That's where we actually found our victims advocate. We put calls out to the Links Incorporated. We put calls out to every organization that we were a part of or that we knew. We put calls out to NAACP, and people started. We representatives that we know, um, people that are in elected officials. I'll just say that because there's so many in so many different areas. But elected officials that we know, and they started calling. They started flooding, and we know for a fact that it had an impact because one of the officials that emailed us to let us basically saying, "Hey guys, we have been flooded with emails and phone calls, and this doesn't have anything to do with me. So let me tell you where to send that stuff. But don't send it over here. It has nothing to do with it."
Please
So
read
we
that
know for a fact.
your response.
You want to read my response?
Yes, that response.
All right, Stanley, can you pull up our response? Just the response.
Because it was like that their response is lining up perfectly with the way everybody else is acting over there.
Correct.
So it's telling me it's their culture. That's
Mhm.
that's who they are.
It is. It is. It's cultural. It's systemic. It's definitely their way of work. Were you
And
able to find the email?
you you two are, even your son, outsiders,
Right.
and you
Right.
don't fit into the system.
Right. 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 But the system is broken. The system is broken. So I'm not sure what their expect. No, I am sure. I'm not going to say that. I'm very sure to what their expectation was. Again, in their mind, random black dude, and whether the first cause of death that they gave us that we hung on to for almost a week before we found out that it didn't align with what we now know. It, it, it it's it's not the first time, and it has and it's something that appears to be very, very common, and people are very clear that this what we're encountering is a systemic problem. I'll just leave it there. But
Okay.
were you
So
able to find it?
yeah, I have the email now.
Okay.
The response was to a public official. And so we wrote, "Thank you for your email. We were clearly misinformed again. Unfortunately, we don't know who else is advocating for our son and regret you were caught up in the maze we've come to know as Escambia County and the city of Pensacola's way of work. Your email is an indication that you're clearly separating yourself and your office from this tragedy, which involved one of your constituents and occurred in your community. It was our expectation that contacting you would bring concern, information, and hope, but we find ourselves with yet more research and heavy lifting to do. Perhaps we were looking for humanity in a place where jurisdictional bureaucracy matters more. This is extremely unsettling, but clearly understood. Thank you again, and we wish you all the best."
And that was in response to the email that we received that said, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm paraphrasing, but the email that we received that said pretty much, we've been flooded with these emails and calls. We look, please tell people to stop reaching over here. They need to call these people because this has nothing to do with me. That's somebody else's jurisdiction.
But yeah, I know you said, I heard you say they said it was one thing, and then they said hanging,
Mm-hmm.
and that did not send off
Anxiety.
alarms and getting everybody involved and like, wait a minute, why is this happening? And he can say that's not my jurisdiction. Like the news people should have been like, this is not this is not the 30s, 40s, and 50s where they did this type thing. When you say hanging, that's not common unless it's common over there. That's all.
Mhm.
I'm not sure when that, even for them to say that word, it should have been like extraordinary. We need to solve this now, and all hands on deck. Let's figure out what happened here. So it's a hanging here, but for this to happen, like it's no big deal. It's like,
Well, what they said is, again, it was self-inflicted. So what he said is he hanged himself. Now, I will tell you that doesn't make sense, and I'll just leave it there. I can just assure you that does not make sense.
okay, so that may answer my other question. If the word on the street or the word that they're spreading around that it was self-inflicted,
Mm-hmm.
since it's self-inflicted, don't worry about it. It's nothing here, nothing to see here.
Right.
And not only that, we don't have any concern about the victim. So now we really don't have concern with his family.
Yeah.
Well, and you can look at it not being a concern for the victim by the fact that you have them, as I shared with one of the officials that I wrote letters as well. And as I shared with one of the officials that I sent a letter to, you're going home on Good Friday to enjoy a great Easter weekend. We're going to be because everyone, of course, was sharing with us that it's Good Friday, so a lot of people won't be working and may not be working next week, and we're not really sure about the system, all of that stuff. And I share with them, you're going home on Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon to enjoy a great holiday weekend because everyone that I'm encountering is telling us that it's a holiday weekend. Besides the lady that told us that the system was down and her check was connected to it. So she didn't even know if she was going to get paid. Not really sure what that has to do with Daniel, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so you're going home to enjoy your holiday weekend. While we're going to be sitting wondering, is that Daniel in your morgue? And why has he been there for however many days? Because of course, at this point, we now know that you can't even tell us how long he's been dead. So, and you're not even sure of the exact time, the exact date And clearly now you weren't even sure of the exact way. But I will tell you, the first cause of death that they gave us, and then what we took back to them when once we found out, two very different things. Very, very different things. And I don't know how you can say one thing with so much detail and be totally wrong. And your only answer is, oh, well, I'm sure you all thought that, but that's not what it was. It was something else. One, why are you sure we thought that? Why are you
So
sure we thought that? Because you said it. Because you said it.
that's the professional investigator that
Correct.
said that or
Hmm.
got it mixed up.
Hmm.
So, but do you think that's intentional to put false information out?
I don't think it's intentional. We've kind of surmised that it's either a severe incompetence or there's some sort of cover up. And so that's where we are right now. It's too many inconsistencies with what we were able to determine on our own because we didn't leave Pensacola on Thursday. We actually stuck around and did some research on our own and did some driving around on our own and driving out to the scene on our own and doing our own investigation. And it's just the fact pattern that they're laying out and what we've uncovered, they don't match. And so there's going to have to be a different independent investigation in order for us to really get to the bottom of what transpired.
Even from what you know about your son, the place they found him, would that be a place that he would visit?
Yeah, that's not uncommon to go out and camp. This is a very popular area. It's a huge camp with a boat ramp. And so it gets a lot of activity. So going out there wasn't the issue. So we're not concerned about the where. We're just concerned about the how. Because that's the real issue right now.
And he's an artist, and he spent a lot of time drawing near the water and those kinds of things. So that again wasn't uncommon. But how many people, have been found in a camping area or out somewhere? Who knows what happened? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows who put him in a tree if he was in a tree? I mean, right now at this point, we don't know what to believe.
So they've said the word hanging, but there's no evidence or witnesses saying that they saw a body hanging. But the investigator came to that conclusion, and
Yeah,
well, we can't really speak to that because we don't have any of their reports at this point. When we asked for reports, they said we could do a records request, but all of the reports were redacted. And so at this point, we don't have any information about what they did or did not see, what they did or did not find, who is a primary witness, who are the secondary witnesses. We don't have any of that right now.
although it was requested.
but they're saying it's an open investigation.
Which doesn't make any sense because with an open investigation, you would be holding on to him rather than releasing him. With an open investigation, the car would have been impounded instead of being towed. So there are some inconsistencies in what they're saying and then in what they're doing. And so that's what we're in the process of now is kind of unpacking all of these inconsistencies to see if we can actually get to what the real truth is.
But it goes back. It sounds like a decision has been made. This what happened. Case closed.
Yes. Moving on to the next one.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's why it doesn't sound like any kind of investigation is going on. Why would you investigate when you already made a conclusion? You already got a preconceived conclusion, right. And I'm done with it. I'm moving on.
Yes. Can't say kind of dismissiveness when we got there, as if I've already told you what the issue is. So what are we really talking about at this point? And even some people that have contacted us today that said, you've been reaching out to us about this, but they're telling us they've already given you everything that you asked for. And so basically, why are you still complaining? Well, we're complaining because we don't have any answers. Yeah, you've answered a question that we didn't ask. We're asking you to explain to us how we got here. And so you say simply because you've answered a few questions and you've given us a report that doesn't have anything in it, you're basically asking us, why are you still complaining? Well, we're not going to stop complaining until we have all of the answers and we have some real clarity about what happened out there at the boat ramp. And we're not going away. We're not going to go quietly. We're going to get some real answers from some people in charge, and they're going to explain to us how you came to the conclusions that you came to.
And why are you communicating that information? And why is this taking so long? And why is a person lying in the morgue for countless days? And you're not even the person that's giving us the information. It's things that we have to go out and find out for ourselves. And keep in mind, for the amount of time that he was there, the car is sitting somewhere. We're asking, where's the car so that we can go get that? Because clearly now it's not a part of an investigation because, again, you've had it towed to a tow yard, not to your impound. So it's sitting somewhere. We're asking where it is. You're telling us you don't know. Can we get his things? We don't know because everything's in the system and our system's down. So we don't even know where his things are. So we go and we get to the place to actually get his things from his car, and they can't release it to us because of the amount of time that's been sitting there, the cost has gone up, and they have to verify some things. Although we've been sent there saying, go by there now and you can pick that up. Well, we get there and you can't pick it up. So again, more misinformation. It's a cycle of complete buffoonery at this point. And perhaps it would be easier if we just walked away, but this isn't about just us anymore. This is about justice. That is what it's about. Not just us, but justice. And that has to be conveyed. And at some point, somebody needs to realize that these systems and the way that people are being handled, it's not okay. It's completely unacceptable. And although you've been able to do it to people and it mean nothing, not this time. Because Daniel's a person and he matters.
So they had the car no, it was towed and not impounded. So they probably didn't check the car.
Well, they checked it, but they checked it, but an indication that something is being investigated would have meant that they impounded the car because it would have still been a part of evidence. So it was treated as an abandoned car. So that's why the towing company towed the car, is because clearly it was not a part of an active investigation. And so that lends itself to why they actually released him from the medical examiner on Saturday also, because once again, we're not really investigating anything. So we might as well just go ahead and sign that release. Might as well just let the tow company tow the car. And so all of the things that are inconsistent with an investigation are the things that we now have questions about, because now that the cause of death is different than what we got initially, it just creates a whole new set of questions that have yet been answered.
So even if it was, well, I don't believe it was self-inflicted, but even if it was, is there a protocol to not do any kind of investigating?
Well, in the state of Florida, suicide is not a crime. So if it is in fact a obvious suicide, then yes, that protocol you could put in place. But once you've seen the scene and you have an opportunity to look at the evidence, it is so inconsistent with anything that we believe could have possibly happened. It is beyond, it's beyond even your wildest imagination that what they said happened could have happened once you see the scene.
Okay. Okay, since we have a culture that doesn't care, they probably believe the investigation is over. So how do we get people from the outside to investigate? Is this something that need to be taken up to maybe like the FBI or something? Because if they're not going to do it, it's pretty much case closed with them.
Well, you can always have an investigation reopened. And so that's what we're deciding now is what our next steps will be. FDLE is always an option. There's some other options that are available. But what we want to do is just make sure that we have all of our facts. We don't want to use any conjecture. That's why we don't use any names because we're not trying to slander anybody. But we just want to make sure people understand the importance of having a voice and taking a stand for the people that don't have an opportunity to, mainly those that are victims of these types of crimes, and then the people that don't know how to navigate the systems. We're adamant about making sure that this gets as much traction, it gets as much notice as possible, because for us, we know we're not going to stop until we get some answers. But we hope that maybe this encourages somebody else who's in a similar situation and have not gotten any answers. If they want to reach out, we're happy to do whatever we can. We're happy to use whatever resources we have to help you get answers to whatever questions you have also. So we understand that this is not just about us.
Right. I believe it's other people who have gone through this, or they could be going through it actively right now,
Yes.
but and have no idea what to do. I believe yes, y'all should get together and compare notes,
Yes.
and find out what else could be done.
Right.
Because it clearly sounds like no investigation is going on, no compassion. I believe they already determined that the case is closed, but we still need to keep the fire under their butts. So
Yes.
how can we? Okay, you start off with the emails, um, the email, what you call it, sending emails. Anyway, do you want people to continue to do that, or what next? The next step you want people to do to keep it going?
Well, we just need to be more focused now, because now that we know that the Pensacola mayor has no jurisdiction over Escambia County, now we need to focus on Escambia County. So we need to focus on impacting the sheriff to actually insist on a thorough investigation. And let's take a look at all of the information that you have. Let's take a look at the scene, and let's just go back and revisit this thing with a fresh set of eyes. And so if you're going to do anything that would be impactful, our thought is let's contact the sheriff. Let's get him, because we've not spoken to him either. The advocate had an opportunity to speak to him. He spoke to a captain, which got the inspector on the phone. But we've not had an opportunity to speak to anybody that's in authority at the sheriff's office, because we need some new eyes to go out and take a look at the scene. And then we need a new, fresh evaluation of what transpired. And that's what we're working toward right now, because that's the only way we're going to get all of the questions answered that we have.
Okay. So is
And
it
I
a
need
go ahead.
let me what we need also is for people to continue to put pressure. You need to continue to send emails and messages, not just to the sheriff, but you also need to start sending them to other outlets. More people need to hear about this story. More people, because that's how you find people who can share in your story. That's how you get other layers of information. That's not going to come from just the sheriff. It's going to come from people who've had to live through these things and needed help and didn't know what to do or didn't know who to contact. We also ask everyone to continue look around in your network. Look around in your network. When I got desperate, I thought about quickly. I'm in multiple organizations. I need to hit my network. And that's how things started happening. We're connected with our ministry. That's a part of our network. So what we're asking for is for people to push, continue to send information, continue to make calls, continue to agitate. And you do it in a way that says, yes, we want you to be able to explain this, but we also want you to be accountable for all of the missteps that have occurred to this point and how they've impacted this family, but how it's also impacted other families.
So this is under Escambia Sheriff's Department, but Pensacola, but they have like another police department, totally separate police department.
Yes,
Yes, yes. So there are counties like Alachua County, for instance. There's a sheriff's office that handles generally the external, and the city proper is managed by a totally different governmental structure or governmental system. So the mayor is over oversees Pensacola, but not Escambia County.
So is that another authority? Is like another the county courthouse, the county commissioner, different things like that, but it's not a mayor per se.
no, there's a board of there's a chamber board that manages Escambia
Yeah, it's
County.
a board of something. We have it. We were directed there, so we have that information. But it's a
Like a
board
chamber.
that's over Escambia County, and so yeah, letters bombarding there. And I still say again, think within your network. Uh, think about other media outlets. Think about other places where you can share this story, so that we can figure out who else is out there that have experienced these things, or who's out there who can help push this message and put some pressure on Escambia County to to employ systems that will keep anyone else from having to ever experience this again. I cannot imagine any parent sitting around wondering why were there two officers at my front door, and you don't know and all you know is that it's about your son, and you don't know anything else for almost a 24-hour period. That has, and then beyond that, you have to be the initiator to be able to get any information. It's just really, really a sad situation.
Yeah, even just did the whole story just is crazy. And it sounds like he really didn't really want to let you know about the situation. That's kind of like what I'm getting. Like, yeah, we're supposed to contact. We're supposed to try to find them. Well, maybe if the police didn't, if the JSO didn't find you, it wouldn't have been a big deal anyway. But that's still back to my opinion.
Right. Yeah, and because whenever there is no information, of course, people naturally fill in the blank. So the absence of information made it a lot easier for us to start spiraling into different directions and having to really start digging into what are the practices like there? What other things can we find in the media? What other things can we find in talking to citizens? What other things can we find? And we were talking to one person we were talking to was just a random person that we bumped into that had information. And it's crazy because again, just to see the inconsistencies and on one front, but then to see nobody was shocked. Nobody's shocked that this is happening, which is scary.
So that's
It's
got to be
scary for
normal.
us.
So it's got to be more
Right.
more victims.
Correct. Correct.
So there was
This
no
is
TV coverage, no news, no newspapers, anything like that.
One news article, but nothing specific in the article at all.
yeah, and that article, if you look at it's interesting. If you look at the date on that article, that's after we started. I think it was after that Wednesday, when we were there, right, Stanley? Wasn't that article on like the Thursday or something?
Well, it was written on the 23rd, the day of, but investigation was ongoing when they interviewed him on Thursday, is what it
Yeah,
said.
that's what I mean. When they
Yeah.
interviewed him on Thursday, and keep in mind now, he was available for the interview. He was available for the interview. But when they interviewed him on that Thursday, the investigation was still going, or was ongoing. But keep in mind, there was no investigation. It was closed, and he had given us everything when he talked to us on Monday, according to him, or when he talked to us on Tuesday, according to him. But on Thursday, he's reporting in the media that it's an ongoing investigation. But you've
It
already
was
released the vehicle to a tow company. It's
so
ridiculous.
that was a newspaper.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a newspaper article.
Um, is there a reason why they decided to run the story and other outlets didn't? Do they report on stories like this? Or could you get
Don't know.
anything?
Don't know. Don't have any real information about that. Because it was very brief. No foul play, suspected, body found at the boat dock, and so it was very brief. No details at all. And then investigation is ongoing. So that was just something that I was able to find. It wasn't something that they pointed out. It was something else that we were able to find doing our own research.
So that goes back to my question about what's the word on the street. So that's an example. That's a sneak peek into what the officials are thinking.
Yeah.
Nothing much, especially if that's what's in print. That's what the media is saying.
Hmm.
So that's got to be what the other people are saying. Or if the officials are telling the media to leave it alone.
Yeah, because I
If
think it was
they,
important. I think it was important in this one to create a narrative. And so, I mean, you're not going to say what it is. You're going to give it a different twist. And so if you just say body found, nobody's going to get worked up over that. But if you had said exactly what transpired, now that creates a whole new mindset. And so it's
right.
easier to create a narrative that you can manage by not saying anything than saying exactly what transpired.
That's what I was getting at. If that
Hmm.
just hanging,
Yeah.
it should have been all sorts of um, media outlets coming out there to investigate
Right.
and see
Right. Right. Right.
what's up with this. So it's still a lot.
Yes. 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 Yes.
For sure.
Okay, I see someone in the comments saying, could you put your information? Let me see. Your contact information. If you want people to contact you, you want people to still contact these officials. Could you put that in the chat? Who you want the people to reach out to?
Okay.
Sure.
We can do that.
Yeah, you could just
I'll
type that while we
Yep,
still.
I'll grab some of that information and start jotting it down in the chat. And then
Man, so
if you know people who are influencers somewhere, you know people who can make a difference, you know people who may have been in similar situations across this county, you know people who are interested in justice and ready to would be willing and able to help us move this needle forward, by all means have those people reach out to us. They can reach out to us directly, and that will, we'll more than happy to follow up and share as much as we can right now in that capacity as well. And I'll drop that information in the chat as well.
well, I've seen many situations like this, but it takes an outsider. It really nothing's really most of the time not much happens from people who are part of the system or part of that culture. They don't want to be involved, even though if they know something, it's going
Right.
to interfere with their career or something. So it's best for it just to go away. But now it sounds like it happens to a lot of people. Um, so yeah, somehow we need some outsiders to come in and get to the bottom of it.
Right.
But any other final words you'd like to get to people? I know we want to spread it. My thing, we're gonna take this video, we're gonna put on the channel, and we're gonna keep it going, sharing it to other places. And like I said, I'm reaching out to other social media influencers to pick up the story and maybe do the same thing, interview you, to really get a bigger ball rolling. But I believe it's still got to be for people on the outside. It's a small community over there. I don't.
57,000 people live in Pensacola, Escambia County.
Okay.
So it's fairly small. I mean, compared to Jacksonville, where we have over 1 million.
Right. It reminds me of my hometown in North Carolina, but it's still like spring break and all the different people go to visit. So
Mhm.
still but yeah, but enough people know Pensacola. But yeah, that's my thing is to continue to spread the word. Let's get it going. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's get peace. Um, Closure is the word I'm really talking. What I
Yes.
mean. Okay, so what's y'all next steps now?
Just continue to try to get answers to questions. We need to get a seat at the table. We need to be able to talk to the people that are the decision makers. We we kind of feel that he was operating independently, not really with much supervision, because everybody who we talked to above him, we had to fill them in detail wise. And so, like she said earlier, like my wife said earlier, there is a problem. There's a management issue that's not being it's not being dealt with. And so we want to create positive change, not just for us, but anybody that follows us. So yeah, we want people to tell the story, ask questions. Like she said, if you got questions, contact us. We're happy to talk about it. And prayerfully we'll be able to move the needle forward.
Okay, so you're able to lay Daniel to rest.
Yes, service is planned for April 9th.
Okay, so all right. Um, so I don't see the information. It's in a. Hold on, just a second. Um, yeah, Kathy, you put it in the private chat. Could you put that in the public chat? Is she still available? Wait a minute, I think I'll copy it and drop it down there. Let me see. Copy, copy, enter. That's the oh, I put in Lost Stanley. Okay, I'm sorry, let me go back to the chat. Comments. This is the information to the sheriff's office. And here's if you want to contact Stanley and Kathy. There, there. Okay, I just put it in the chat. Okay, I got you back. All right. Well, I thank you all for your time. I thank you for sharing your story. We are behind you 100%, whatever you need. And if you need us to get on the platform, I would like to get on the platform, give another update in I don't know, what a week, whenever you get back and get settled in, and we can give up any kind of updates and anything new that you would like for people to do. Like I said, this platform is available for you. Behind the scenes, I'm going to continue to push it and to get the message out. We also open up the floor, open up anybody else that's experienced this over there, or if anybody want to talk about different situations, and if you dealt with this before, you got any tips on how to maneuver through this, let us know. Okay, any final words?
No, sir, we just appreciate you giving us this platform. And we're grateful that you're going to record it and it'll be available for other people to watch. And so we're just incredibly grateful.
You are welcome. I'm moving this other information over. Let's see.
So also, I wanted to share too that we're really interested in reaching, as you shared, people outside of that community. So if someone just shared some information with me about contacting Al Sharpton. Someone just sent that to me in a message, in a private message. And yeah, we're open to that. If you know anybody, if you if we can get on, I was someone connected me with Karen Hunter today. Uh, so I have a call out to her, and there's some others that are really, really, really been active, and we have some. And again, I'm not sure if they want us sharing their information yet, so we're going to be very careful about some of the names. But when we get an opportunity to share, I will tell you that there have been some great people who have stepped up in some great ways to help make sure that we keep this ball rolling, and we appreciate them. We do. I can, and as soon as we have an opportunity to figure out how we're moving and what we're going to do in this space and get the nod to be able to do so, we have got to celebrate the hundreds of people who have just stepped up, the many
Right.
people who have stepped up. We just have to be able to say thank you in a more personal way, and that will be coming at some point. But we definitely just thank them now for just all of the support, and would like to continue. So again, if you know anyone that could help, please, please, please don't hesitate to email and let us know, or contact them and have them email us. We're more than happy to share.
Okay. We'll continue to pray with you, pray for answers. We need this mystery solved. We need to, again, get justice. If there's people out there that's responsible, they need to be caught. Actually, we need someone actually looking for them. And you can't catch anybody if you're not looking. And justice to be served. But we need a justice system, a judicial system, a justice system that's actually trying to pursue justice for all people, not just certain people. So, man,
Agreed.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Great.
So, again, I pray y'all have a safe trip. I know y'all got a lot of miles to put on the road again.
Yeah.
I know y'all probably still got to make some more trips over to Pensacola to show your face, let you know that y'all are still here. Y'all are not going away.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know if you need some more bodies to show up too. Let them know, hey, it's more than just these two. We got a lot of people that's got y'all's back.
Thank you
Just
very
let
much.
us know where we can fit in.
Thank
All right.
you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. You are welcome. You are welcome. Again, we thank you for your time. And I'll be talking to y'all in just a few minutes.
All right.
All right. Okay, everybody. Y'all heard the story. Story is just unbelievable. But you can do your part. Send your emails. Find people who that can help. And we're also looking for other families that's probably been through a similar situation, been through things over in that same area. And if there's any other information, anybody heard the story on the street, the streets talk. There may be some more information. Somebody might have heard something. Let us know. And if you want to stay anonymous, we can do that. But we would like to find closure. We would like to find an answer to this story. Okay, if that happens to you and you want people to help you out, hey, we will help you out, just the same. All right, I thank everybody who tuned in. We've got our marching orders. We got to keep this story going. Share this story, share this link to this live. Just keep it going. If you got any other content creator friends or some content creators that you watch too, send them this link. Let them check it out. They can get with us so we can get this story in front of more eyeballs. We need the mainstream media covering this story. We need a lot of people covering this story, not just let it fade away and die away. And if it's a system that this happens all the time, we need to shut this system down. All right. Again, thanks for your time. You've been watching really From the Mind of Little Joe show on Purpose Inspired TV show and podcast. And if you haven't done already, go to Fire TV, go to Roku and download our app. And if you see that logo right there, all you have to do is put Purpose Inspired TV. Just take the remote, say Purpose Inspired TV, and you get our channel. Download our channel. Check out the content. If there's something that you would like to see on the channel, let us know. If it's other stories like this that you would like for us to cover and share more information about, get with us. Let us know. We are all about helping people. This is Purpose Inspired TV. It's a purpose to help people. It's a purpose to help people find their purpose. So this is a situation. There's a story that we are putting our purpose behind, putting our channel behind, and helping find resolution and find peace, and to give this family peace on what happened to their son. And we want justice. That's one of the biggest words. We would like justice. There's a lot of no compassion that's being handed out, but what we like, compassion is fine, but justice is more important. So that's what we want. We are looking for justice. All right. Again, everybody have a good evening. Until next time, LeJoe out.
Purpose Inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
Duval, Cannon, Clay, and surrounding counties, are you ready to take your business to the next level? Join us on April 12th at the Connect and Grow Conference, brought to you by Batson Cook and Mims Construction Companies. Whether you're a small startup or emerging business, this event is tailor-made just for you. Do you feel stuck trying to get your business off the ground? Do you need guidance on getting those local, state, and federal contracts? Well, invest in yourself and in your business. Take the day off and join us at 8 a.m. for breakfast at the Schultz Center for a power-packed day filled with invaluable insights and connections. Have lunch with industry experts and representatives from major companies who are eager to share their knowledge and resources with you. So, what is your excuse? Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Head over to eventbrite.com right now and secure your free tickets to the Connect and Grow Conference. That's right, this valuable conference is free. We've lined up amazing speakers from around the country who are ready to help propel your business to the next level. So don't miss out on this great opportunity to connect, learn, and grow your business. See you there, April 12th, Connect and Grow Conference 2024.